Hi everyone, my name is Bogdan and welcome to Acura Addicted channel, helping you to navigate in the world of automotive repairs, maintenance and reviews. Today I'll show you how to quickly replace your low beam bulbs without removing the bumper, as suggested by Acura. Removing the bumper and putting it back on after can add up to an hour of extra time. I've noticed that my low beams started to deteriorate. No surprise, they're on a 10-year-old car. So I decided it's time to replace the bulbs. Of course, once I bought the new bulbs, I could never find the time to replace them because I didn't really want to remove the bumper and deal with all that. But when one of the bulbs finally went out recently, this was inevitable. So I decided to cheat a little bit and do it without the bumper removal. After all, if there's a much faster way, why don't we try this out? Before we begin, I'd like to mention that I've heard multiple opinions that just replacing the bulbs won't do much of a difference if you're not replacing or upgrading the lenses or reflectors in the headlight casings as well. To all those people, I have no response other than this. As you can clearly see, that statement is simply false. Now, of course, I realize that replacing the lenses and reflectors would make a difference, but that's a story for a different time. I also wanted to mention that I acknowledge that some people are replacing the HIDs with LEDs. However, that is quite costly compared to just replacing the bulbs. A good quality pair of LED bulbs along with the hardware would cost about twice of what you would pay for regular xenon bulb replacements. And the difference in the light output is not that big. Plus, I wouldn't hold my breath for LED low beams longevity. As you may know, the heat issue at these is quite real. For my application, I bought one of the best pair available at the time, D2S Osram Xenarc Nightbreaker. There's a new generation of these available now, called Laser, and I've seen a video comparing the previous and the new generations. In my opinion, the difference in the light output is quite negligible. I'll link to that video in the description, which is totally not worth the 1.5 of the price. So my advice is, buy the previous generation and save some money. There's also a question of the color temperature. I wanted a softer white, closer to the factory one. So 5500 Kelvin provided by these is great. They're not bluish, which I dislike entirely. But if you are into that sort of thing, you can buy the COB Xenarcs. They have a colder temperature. Let's roll! First, we need to remove the plastic trim cover for easier access to the back of the headlight assemblies. There are 8 plastic clips here. I suggest having spare clips in case you break any. Now let's remove the battery. This is not necessary, but makes things easier. Plus, this is the only way I'm able to fit the camera in order to show you the process. I'll isolate the negative cable to avoid sparks. Ah yes, the key. Yes, my positive cable clamp is loose. Yes, it has been for about 5 years now. No, I don't need a new clamp or cable. Having this key in does the job just fine. Removing the battery bracket, 2 10mm nuts. You can use a regular ratchet as long as you have a long socket. Time to take out the battery. Heavy. Remove the battery tray as well. This is the back of the driver's side headlight. First, remove the sealing cap. Just rotate counterclockwise a little and take it off. Now it's the igniter's turn.
make sure you disconnected the battery for at least 5 minutes before you touch it. Also, turn it counterclockwise in order to release it from its seat and wiggle a little bit to pull it out. To take the bulb out, you need to undo the clamp, holding it by pressing the clamp sides. There it is. Let's take a look at the old bulb. See, this element all burned out. And here's the new bulb. Make sure you don't touch the glass with your fingers. The oil from your fingers can destroy the bulb once it's on. Okay, let's install the new bulb now. Make sure the metal contact faces down. Now you're basically doing this blind, as it's really hard to see what's going on there, so be very careful and do not force anything. Just try to feed the bulb through the opening in the back of the headlight. Once it's in, make sure it's flush with the socket. Now secure it with a clamp. You can do one side at a time. Looks like it's secure. You want to make sure it sits tight. Looks good. Let's put the igniter back. Remember to rotate it a bit counterclockwise first, and then push it in and rotate clockwise to secure it until it clicks. Now the cover. Let's do the same for the passenger side, starting with the cover. This is going to be harder as I'm going almost completely blind here, because there's not much space to operate in. The old bulb is out. The new one is in. Done. Let's reinstall the battery now. It's a good idea to clean the battery terminals at this point. Securing the clamps. Here's my helper key. While we're at it, check the battery voltage. Seems normal. Now let's put the battery bracket back on. Done. Let's fire it up and make sure it's working. We can also compare the previously shot footage of the surviving passenger side bulb and the new footage of the new driver side bulb. The new light looks great. The only thing left to do is to put the plastic trim back on and secure it with the clips.
And that's it. As you can see, the difference with my previous faded out lights and the current ones is huge. I'm also hoping to replace or upgrade the lenses and reflectors at some point, and possibly add the DRL halo rings around the low beam lenses as well at some point in the future. So stay tuned for that. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, that's fine too. Either way, leave your comments below and hit that subscribe and bell buttons for more videos on this channel. And as always, drive safe, use turn signals, and remember, anything is possible with the right tools and motivation. See you next time!